You heard Dr. Kuber. Our baby is not going to survive. We need to get an abortion.
We have to go out of state.
We will be prosecuted, Anand.
We're going to have to move out of state.
But what about our jobs, our parents? What about Saheli's school?
What choice do we have, Aditi? We have no choice.
Make a choice while you still have one. Vote Democrat.
Paid for by VC Blue and RP Victory Fund, not authorised by any candidate or candidates committee.
Another excellent and fabulous show with our talk show with experts. I'm sorry, I'm at a loss of words today. Call our expert on 1-833-882-8872. The number again is 1-833-882-8872. Watch us on Yup TV, Facebook, YouTube, Sling TV, World Baby TV, and Dish Network. Ival Manutunar Mana immigration expert Rahul Reddy Garu. Rahul Garu, thank you so much for being on the show today, Andy.
Thanks for inviting me, Garu.
All right, let's get on to the topic for today, which is about the digital nomads. I don't think there could be a better or more apt description for all the IT industry people, which is digital nomads. US visa options for remote workers. Rahul Garu, we've talked briefly about this in the past, but about how in certain situations it can actually work in our favor. In certain situations we may need to hear and stuff. So Rahul Garu, tell us what is it about this option that works or doesn't work for us, especially for the remote workers?
As you know, Nitya Garu, things are very mobile right now. And since COVID has come in, it has gone revolutionary mobile. People can work from any location now. At least I know that more than 30% of our audiences work remotely. They don't go to office. Some of them ever don't go to office. Some of them don't have offices. They don't have anywhere to go and sit in their offices.
That's true.
So that's the reason I call them nomads. Nomads don't have house. They keep roaming around. They don't have anything to tell, okay, this is my place. So the digital nomads are the ones who are working remotely, and they are just going places to places still. Their connection is their laptop or desktop, whatever it might be. So that's how they connect and work to their company. Now, so what people need to remember is only one simple thing. And that is where people sometimes get into trouble with the immigration law. We don't recognize the cyberspace as a space. US does not, I don't know of any government that recognizes cyberspace as a space. So let's say, for example, if you're logging into Florida, but you are sitting down in Dallas, you must have a work permit to work in Dallas. The LCA, for example, most of our guys are on H1B, and their work location that should be listed on the H1B should be in Dallas, though. It cannot be in Florida. Now, it could be that the LCA location could cite Florida and Dallas, but Dallas has to be there if you are sitting in Dallas and working in Dallas. You can't tell that, oh, how do they come to know? No. Don't use all those things. A lot of people, simple ask question, Rahul, how does the immigration come to know whether I am in Dallas? Well, there are many things. You have a house. You have a credit card that shows that you're in Dallas. You have a car that shows in Dallas. You have a health insurance. You're going to visit a doctor that you are going to visit in Dallas. You have a driving license that is in Dallas. You have the tax system that is in Dallas, where you get the paycheck. And don't ask me how they will come to know, because you guys are the software guys that are writing the programs to the government to tell where a person is.
Right.
I'm not the person who's doing it. You are the person who are doing it. At least you or your brother, or the digital nomads are the persons who are writing it. So you need to remember that you must have a work permit at that particular place where you are working at. And now, there are some exceptions. Let's say, for example, if you take a 1 or 2 week vacation to Florida, can you take a 1 week vacation to Florida and can you work? Absolutely, that's not a fine. That's not a problem. Now, if you are contemplating on moving to, for example, from Dallas to Atlanta, somebody is contemplating on moving though, the amendment for the H1B need to be filed before you move, not after you move. Not after 1 week, not after 1 day. It is before you move that you have to file an amendment. Oh, no, I will file it later on, and then later on never comes and you forget it. Then you have Christmas holidays, you have whatever summer holidays, you have kids that thing, and you will forget it and things will, and then people start blaming on, oh, I already informed my HR that my address has been changed. They didn't take care of it. Guys, don't tell this excuse, okay? You are listening to the TVASIA show, you're on audiences, at least you don't make this excuse, okay? Make sure that the company knows it, the company files an amendment when you move to a different location than where you are located at. Even though you're working remotely, it's important. We do not recognize. So I normally tell people the rule of the butt, where your butt is sitting, the work permit must be there. Now, for the temporary, let's say you're going to Mexico for a week, you're going to Europe and you're still working, that's fine. You can remotely do it. That's allowed. You're going to India, you can work remotely. That's fine. So that's the main thing that you need to remember. Now, there are some issues that are coming up, Nitya Garu, especially people coming and visiting visas from India to here.
Right.
So if they're just coming here and staying there for 1 or 2 weeks or 3 weeks and going outside the country, that may be okay for them to remotely work. But if they are coming here for 6 months,
gotcha,
and they are staying here for 6 months, and they are remotely working here, remember what I told you, the principle, the rule is where your butt is sitting. Since the person is sitting here for 6 months, they do not have a work permit in USA. That will be a problem for them. And I say, who cares? Who is caring? No, it happens. Later on, when you're applying for a H1B visa, when you're applying a F1 visa, they are asking this question: did you work at that point of time? They know that you worked too. So don't ask me how they know it. They know how you work.
And
so
are you referring to a US-based company or like say an India-based company, Andy?
India-based. Let's say, for example, a person is working in Cognizant, India.
Okay.
And he is visiting. Let's say he's your brother, Nitya Garu, and he is visiting you, and he's staying with you for a 6 months period. He's remotely logging in from Atlanta to all the way to, let's say, Bangalore. And then he's working for 6 months. That's a problem.
Interesting.
Now, if it's 2 or 3 weeks, that's probably fine, but definitely not 6 months. You see the point? Because now they say you're staying in USA, you're working in USA, you don't have a work permit in USA.
Oh, okay.
Now,
even though you are working for an India-based company.
That's right. Even though you are getting the salary from India, even though you are working for an Indian company, even though you're remotely logging into Bangalore computers and working, still remember the rule of the butts. He cannot work in USA because he doesn't have the work permit. At the same time, let's assume that your brother is in Bangalore.
Okay.
He gets a job in Atlanta for a company. Or a project for Atlanta company. He is sitting in India. Can he work in Bangalore? He doesn't have any work permit in United States. He doesn't have any. He's just your brother. He's just staying there. Can he work and get the money paid in US dollars? The answer is yes. Surprisingly, yes. No violations here. No immigration violations. Because he is an Indian. Your brother is an Indian citizen. Indian citizen can work in India. I don't have to be a lawyer of India to tell that. Well, which I am actually. Which I am. But since your brother is an Indian citizen, he is working in India. We don't care whether he is logging into USA, whether he is logging into Chandrayaan, I don't know, Mars with all these things, what's going on. We don't care. He is sitting in India, he's working, he has a work permit, period. Now, there are some accounting calculations. You can always work with your CPA, but as far as immigration concerned, he's perfectly good to work. So a lot of people in India, if they can get a project though, and they want to work and they want to get paid, go ahead, do it. No problem with you. You don't need me. You don't need an immigration lawyer. Just go ahead, work, get a payment. Now, there are ways to work around on the legal issues of the payment issues. They can contact us how the money can be done. They can simply raise an invoice and get paid. Nothing. And then they are subject to taxes in India. There are many easy ways for them to do it. So the people in India can work, absolutely not a problem in remote. But people coming into United States, if you are coming on a work permit, you have to have the proper place of employment. And if you are visiting United States, you cannot stay in United States and work for an Indian company for 6 months period. You can't do that.
So, sir, based on that statement that you just made, is there any provision where they need to come and be here, say, like, so my brother's coming visiting, they plan a 6-month visit, but he does have to work.
No.
Is there a right channel to do it at all? Or does he just have to get a work permit?
No, he has to get a work permit, H1B, L1 or something like that.
Okay, got it.
And which practically there is no way, there is no work permit for him, for the Cognizant India to apply here in United States.
So in no scenario is it
no.
viable.
Cognizant USA has to file a L visa. You know, it's complicated. They won't do it. For visiting people, they won't do it.
Makes sense. Okay. And so one thing I wanted to also ask is, you know, based on this, this location and, these remote workers. So is there any harm in being on an H1 and being a fully remote employee of a company?
Absolutely not. I mean, they can be remote on H1B perfectly okay. No problem at all. If you are never, ever going to your office and you're remotely working from your house or apartment, absolutely not a problem, as long as that your apartment or your house is listed in the LCA and listed in the H1B application. You can completely 100% remotely work. Now, I have spoken with some people, how can you work at home? You won't get bored or you won't get, and they said, no, there's no office. They said, like, what? You don't have an office? No, there's nothing there. I go to office, there is nobody there to communicate. Okay? You know, it's a new word for me, okay? But anyway, I'm digesting that information. Yeah, but perfectly allowed that you can 100% do remote work.
Gotcha. And around that, so some people might ask, why is this location information so important?
Because the reason is that when you file the extension, the H1B will be denied. The FTNS, every 5 to 10 H1Bs, the FTNS comes to site visit and they find out that you are in a different location. They will tell that you violated the status and your H1B will be revoked.
Got it.
And when you're trying to get the green card, if you're out of status for more than 6 months, that's going to cause a problem for you to get a green card. So all these troubles will come, and we see them coming very frequently. Every week I get at least 2 or 3 consultations where people have been in trouble because they work from remote locations. And they always tell something like this, oh, I told my HR, they didn't do. That's the common excuse that they will come up with. It's their fault, okay? It's not my fault. So that's where the problem comes in.
Sir, and filing this, is that LCA, you said?
Yes, labor condition application.
Yes. Is that something that the company has to do, or is it something that the applicant himself can send?
The company has to do it. It's not the applicant can do it though. But it's like this, if the babysitter is not feeding your baby, okay, it hurts us, right? If I'm not feeding the baby, it hurts us. Don't just leave it on the babysitter saying that, okay, somehow the babysitter is going to figure out how to feed the baby.
Right.
No, you have to give very clear instruction. You have to make sure my baby is getting fed when I'm keeping my baby in the babysitter's control, right? So don't leave it to them. I told the babysitter to take care of the things. She's going to feed the baby. No, please make sure that it's done. Okay? Call me. Make sure. So this also, when it comes to LCA, if the employer does a mistake, who's going to suffer? Employee is going to suffer. If employee is going to do a mistake, who's going to suffer? Employee is going to suffer. If the lawyer is going to do the mistake, who's going to suffer? Employee is going to suffer. So for that all reasons, though, you need to take these things under your control.
Makes sense. Okay. Thank you for that, sir. Anything else you'd like to add at this point before we start taking our callers?
No, we can go to question and answers.
Fantastic. Let's take our first caller for the day. Let's take our first caller. Okay, caller number ending in 8765. 8765, we're ready for you now. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, ma'am?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
We can
can
hear
you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Thank you for calling
Okay.
us. Please go ahead with your question.
Sure, yep. So, so here's the situation, and hi, Nitya and Rahul. Here's the situation. So I had a H1 visa stamp until, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am,
Yes.
we can hear you. Please
You
go
have
ahead.
H1B visa stamping until?
Oh, thank you. So I had H1 visa stamp until January 23, 2024. And my employer had filed for my extension, and I got a 3 years extension in July 2023, which is really all good. And I have the I-797 with me, a valid one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I did was in December 2023, I went to a cruise to Mexico, and while exiting US, the cruise or the crew members just checked the H1 visa stamp on my passport. And while returning back, the port of entry was just my facial recognition and the fingerprints. So now when I check my I-94 status online, of course, my last entry date is December 2025 because of that cruise, but it says admit until Jan 24, 2024. And is it okay? Should I be worried?
Yes. So let me ask you this question though. When you entered into, when you filed the extension before December of 2023, right?
Correct, yes.
So you should be worried, ma'am. You should contact an immigration lawyer immediately. There are easy solutions where you have to again go to Mexico and come back, but this is not the right forum for you. It needs to be done privately, okay? You need to contact an immigration lawyer because technically speaking you are not in valid status right now. Your status expired in January of 2024. And don't contact your company lawyer. Don't contact your company lawyer.
Sorry?
Don't contact your company lawyer.
Okay.
Why? One of the things that the company lawyers sometimes do is that they will just say, get rid of this lady. Just, you see the point? They will just say, well, let's take her off from the payroll. Let's suspend her, take her off, let's fire her, that they can do it. So try to contact a private lawyer, okay?
Valid. But I do have the valid extension, right? 3 years extension. Maybe
That
it's
valid,
system error.
No, it's not system error, ma'am. That validity was before, every time you enter into United States, you get a new I-94. When you extend the H1B, the same I-94 number will be continued. When you entered into United States in December of 2023, the Customs and Border Protection people said that you can only stay in this country until January of 2024. The one extension that you got it from the immigration, you got it before. When did you got it? Somewhere in November of 2023 you got it.
2023.
So that's not valid anymore. The December entry is the valid one. Okay? I'll tell you a simple example. If your parents have 10-year multiple entry visa, when they come into this country, how long can they stay?
For 6 months.
Why 6 months? Why the passport says that? Why 6 months? The passport says 10 years.
Yeah,
because the new I-94, which was given at the time of the port of entry, allows them only to stay for 6 months. So every time they come into this country, most probably they'll get 6 months. So it is the I-94 that controls, the current I-94 that controls. So you definitely need to contact. We'll go to the next personality.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for calling. Okay, let's take our next caller. While we're taking our next caller, Rahul, got a question from Suni Bodepalli. Says, what's the impact for citizenship if a green card holder spends 6+ months and less than a year in India?
Okay, let me tell people the entire rules of the citizenship so people can get it very clearly though.
Right.
There are certain rules that are absolutely no. That means if you violate those rules, you are not eligible for the citizenship. First thing, you must not be outside the country for more than 1 year at a single stretch in the preceding 5 years. And Nitya Garu, you may ask a question, how can you do that? If you stay more than 1 year, you can't come back. That's the rule, is right? However, there is an exception. You can apply for a re-entry permit and stay up to 2 years in India.
Oh, okay.
If you do so, then you have to start working on the, remember, everybody knows that 5 years green card, you get the citizenship, 4 years, 9 months and 10 days, they can start applying for citizenship. So now you have to start the 5 years all over again if you come back on the re-entry permit. So that's the number one. You cannot be outside the country for more than 1 year with the permit, okay? You cannot. If you do so, then you have to start all over again. The second thing is that out of the total 5 years, you must be physically present in United States for more than 2.5 years.
Gotcha.
On an aggregate, it doesn't have to be one stretch. So on an aggregate, let's say for example, 7 months you stay in USA, 5 months you stay in India, and like that you keep doing it, you are more than 2.5 years in United States. So then you can be eligible, you are eligible for the citizenship. These are hardcore rules. You have to be physically here for 2.5 years, less than 1 year. You cannot be outside the country for more than 1 year.
Right.
So these are hard rules. Now comes the question of what Sunil Bodapalli has a question. If the person is outside the country on a one single stretch for more than 6 months, this is a gray area.
Okay.
This is a gray area. Then it's up to the immigration officer to approve the green card or not approve the green card.
Okay.
You still have to complete, assuming the person spent 7 months outside the country and then come back, assuming that he completed the 2.5 years he applies for citizenship, you need to provide a lot of documentation. I normally recommend people to go through a lawyer if ever your absence is more than 6 months at any point of time.
Okay.
I personally advise people that don't ever cross the 6 months. That's the number one thing.
Right.
If you need to buy a business class ticket, come and go for 1 day, okay?
Right, okay.
Try to maintain less than 6 months so that you can avoid immigration lawyers. But if you happen, sometimes emergencies happen, people tend to stay for more than 6 months.
Gotcha.
Then we have to provide the documentation of that you've been filing income tax returns all along, you're maintaining the house, you're staying in United States, you're continuing your residence in United States. A lot of documents need to be taken to the interview for that officer to approve the green card. Citizenship, sorry.
Got it, got it.
So I would avoid Sunil.
Okay, so but if you're a citizen, then there's no problem, right? Like
citizen, I think so. There is only one restriction. If the citizen stays, if the person becomes a citizen, and then he immediately goes to India, or the kids who are born here in US born kids are there, right? Let's say you have little children, Nitya Garu. Let's say you go to India, who are born in the United States. Let's say you go to India. Your kids will be automatically US citizen, even though they're born in India.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
So let's say you have a son and you have a daughter, and you go to India and they grow up in India and they get married and they get children in India, which they never, after going to India, they never ever visited.
Right.
They went and they stayed there in India. They never ever visited. They get married. The wife doesn't, the spouses of your children don't have green card, and they have a kid. Your children have a kid. They will get US citizenship. They just need to take the passport, birth certificate, go to the US embassy and get a passport. Simple. Wow. No paperwork, nothing.
Nice. Okay.
Their kids, though. That means that your grandchildren kids, though. I think so. There is some restriction. In 14 years, they have to visit one time. I have to read that. If some consultation comes like that, I will look into that. There is some restriction on your great grandkids.
Okay, some restriction on the great grandkids. So please make sure you inform.
So I really think so. They have to come here once or so. I don't recall that. But if somebody consults me, I'll go read all that law and come back and tell you. So
okay. Okay, thank you.
So it's pretty liberal for the people who are US citizens to go to India.
Makes sense. Okay, awesome. Thank you, sir. Let's take our next caller.
gun is not a teacher's tool. Vote for the party that understands this simple math. Vote Democrat.
Paid for by 𝐂𝐓𝐓𝐿 and RP Victory Fund, not authorised by any candidate or candidates committee.
You heard Dr. Kuber. Our baby is not going to survive. We need to get an abortion.
We have to go out of state.
We will be prosecuted, Anand.
We're going to have to move out of state.
But what about our jobs, our parents? What about Saheli's school?
What choice do we have, Aditi? We have no choice.
Make a choice while you still have one. Vote Democrat.
Paid for by 𝐂𝐓𝐓𝐿 and RP Victory Fund, not authorised by any candidate or candidates committee.
June 26th, 2012. So I'm an EB2. So now I think with the current February thing, my date got progressed to EB3. So I'm working with my attorney to get my 140
into
EB3. EB3. So I'm waiting for the receipt. They said once the receipt is there, that's when I can do a premium processing. Waiting for my receipt to come through. They said that they can do my premium processing on the 140. My question is it based on the trend what you're seeing? Once I get that 140 approved, should I go for the TUB? They apply for a new EB3 485?
Absolutely. Go for the transfer of underlying basis. That is a better way for you. Okay. The second thing that what I suggest you to do it is, go for the TUB. Definitely. I'm not second. There's only one. Go for the TUB. Transfer of underlying basis. Hello?
Hello, sir?
Got you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then one other thing is so let's say, so is my 180 days kicks off again for my EAD that I have to use?
No.
Let's say something happens in between.
No, there is no 180 days for you to leave this job and go somewhere else. For example, you have to wait for 180 days after you submit the transfer of underlying basis, or the company is going to file a 485J supplement. No, you can leave the company immediately. There's no 180 days for you. You already completed 180 days after filing the 485. Okay. The other thing is that what if the EB2 moves forward and EB3 goes back and EB2 moves forward? Well, you have to file one more transfer of underlying basis. Okay.
Got you.
Okay then.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for calling us. Let's take our next caller. Okay, caller with number ending in 1525. 1525, we're ready for you now. Hello?
Yeah, hi, this is Sunil.
Hi, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir. Thank you for calling us. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Thank you for picking up my call. So my question is, my wife is currently in India. She is a green card holder. And we realized that, in November this year, her passport is going to expire. So she has plans to come back in, July, August time. So we would like to know if we can renew her passport being in India as a GC holder.
Absolutely no problem with it. She can renew it in India. And if ever she is coming back to United States, though, a lot of people say that her green card, her passport has to be valid for a 6 months period. Okay. Otherwise, she is not allowed to come into United States. That is a wrong information. However, there is some problem that I faced it, though. I realized it myself. Because I know the rule that you can come, even the passport is valid for 1 month, your wife can come here and extend it. I know the rule. But I didn't know there is another rule that the European airlines won't allow you to come into Europe with that kind of thing. You see the point? So if your wife is coming in July,
yeah.
and she's coming, the Europe won't allow her to come into Europe. You see? I didn't realize that.
So, yeah.
When I was traveling to Europe, I realized that. They said, oh, the US law says that you cannot go back to USA unless your US passport is valid for 6 months. I said, no, I'm an immigration lawyer. You don't have to worry about the US immigration. Then they said, no, we don't allow it. Well, you tell me like that. Okay?
Oh, wow.
Okay, understood.
And my
so
wife
it's
was
not a
so
problem
mad.
of US immigration.
We had to go to emergency and get the passport in 1 day in a Houston passport office. Luckily, we got it though. Yeah, but Yeah, you just can't go through Europe. That's the only problem.
Okay, but US immigration, they don't ask any questions or
No,
send back.
they don't have any problem. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for calling us. Rahul, before we take our next caller, this one quick question.
దేవుడు వరం ఇచ్చినా కానీ అయ్యగారు వరం ఇవ్వలేదట. Go ahead.
This is about this EB1C. The question from RB says, will EB1C India become current end of this year due to election schedule? I heard this was done in the past. Please share your experience.
No, it's not expected to become current. I'm not expecting it. Remember, we have some extra green card this year, approximately.
A gun is not a teacher's tool. Vote for the party that understands this simple math. Vote Democrat.
Paid for by 𝐂𝐓𝐓𝐿 and RP Victory Fund, not authorised by any candidate or candidates committee.
Like all the different scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right.
A plus B whole square is equal to A square plus B square plus 2AB, I think so. That's it. But when it comes to the USCIS, it can be anything. It can be XYZ also.
Is equal to C plus D plus 2AB plus XYZ. That is what we are seeing. All right. Caller with number ending in 5093. 5093, we're ready for you now. Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, Nitya garu, Mool garu, thank you, Andy.
Namaste, sir.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Cheppan, sir? Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm on L1A right now, and I'm in like almost 5.5 years in US. This year, my employer is trying for H1B, but I just want to know, is it a right decision, or can I
do you have an I-140? Do you have an I-140 approval?
Yeah, I-140 approve అయిందండి EB1Cలో, and I have priority date is April 2023 last year, basically.
Absolutely, your company is doing the best thing for you, though. Absolutely, I salute your company. Okay.
Because నా క్వశ్చన్ వచ్చి ఏంటంటే లైక్ బై అక్టోబర్
By October,
I'll be completing 6 years, right? Almost 6 years.
Is it almost 6 years or 6 years?
Maybe 2 months left over untadandi. Basically,
That's
I have last extension.
That is important. That is important.
I have until 2025 December.
If you have 2 months left over, you are good.
Okay.
Okay.
So one more question ఏంటంటే right now I have L1A until 2025 December, sir.
Right.
So is it
that
right decision to stay in L1A, or can I don't know. I mean, again, it's lottery and it has to be picked up. But
so let me tell you one thing. Just trust me on this one. Get the H1B, move to the H1B. The reason why they are doing the H1B for you is, if your priority date doesn't become current within 7 years, how can you stay in this country?
Yeah, I can't.
You can't.
Yeah, correct.
So they are trying to convert into H1B, anticipating that your priority date may not be current in the next 1.5 years. Okay? So if you move to H1B, if the priority date becomes current, can you still file the 485 application on H1B for EB1C? The answer is absolutely yes.
Okay.
Okay? So your company...
They don't need to file new I-140 again, right?
No, they don't need to file a new I-140. You're working for the same company, same position. Absolutely not required to file a new I-140 if you convert it to H1B. So they're doing the best that possibly I can imagine for you.
Okay.
Okay? If you want to announce your company, you can announce your company. That's good company. I salute that company. Which company is it?
Yeah.
That's good.
Deloitte.
Okay. That's good. You must be a very good employee for Deloitte. Okay then.
All the very best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for calling us. All right, let's take our next caller.
The reason I said he must be a very good employee for a Deloitte is not a habit of doing all these things. That's my impression.
All right. Caller with number ending in 5541. We're ready for you now. Caller with number ending in 5541. Hello?
Yeah, hi already. One question.
Sure.
Hi, sir.
So just wanted to know the difference between E1 and E2 visa and when we can start applying, if at all, if it's been implemented.
E1 is more like an employer kind of thing. Okay. So it's a bit complex though, for me to explain E1 and E2 at this point of time though. But most probably we are going to get the E2, not E1 though. Okay? The way that the treaty, the discussions are going will be more E2. If it's going to be, I mean, hopefully so in 2 to 3 months, we may hear something. If it's not, then it's not. Okay?
And one more question. I got approved I-140. Can I do additional job on top of my existing job?
You didn't file the 485 yet, is that right?
Yes, I did not file.
You did not. No, you can't. If you want to do additional job though, you have to file concurrent H1B. You know what that is?
I heard that one, sir, but not completely.
Okay.
With concurrent,
so let's say
wherever I'm doing, I need
let's say you're working with Pepsi. And let's say you're getting a contract somewhere with AT&T. And you want to work with a consulting company, ABC Consulting Inc., okay, will contract you to AT&T. While you're working with Pepsi, ABC Consulting Company can file a H1B. It's called concurrently filed H1B. And you can continue working with Pepsi and you can work with AT&T at the same time by working through ABC Consulting Inc. That's called concurrently filed H1B. You may look into it. We have made some provisions. In TVASIA has a lot of presentations on that. You may look into it or you can contact. You can do that way. That's the only way that I can think that you can work for 2 companies. The other way is that does your wife has an I-140 approval?
No.
Okay. So that's the only way that I can
not apply anything. Yeah,
that's
only
fine.
H4 visa.
Right. So the only thing that I can think about for you is to file the concurrently filed H1B and work for 2 companies. Okay. Thank you.
So only the same type